Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about drone crashes. In particular this one, which if you watched a recent video of mine about footballing in this middle of a forest in Scotland, then there was some very brief drone shots kind of overlooking the whole area, very brief, because even with all the preparation in the world and pre-flight checks and everything else, one thing I didn't consider was how sheltered I was standing in the middle of the forest compared to directly above the forest. So, got the footage, obviously, and going to go through it with you, really. And you can't really, I'll take it off of here. Can't really see too much damage. I'm going to try and do this with it. Like I used it, so after I recovered it, which you'll see here, I then used it to fly. So it still flies and everything, but there is a little crack in the leg joint right here, which when you move it out, you can kind of see it. It does have the crack right there. Which I don't think it really affects it flying. It's just general how it sits. A little lopsided, but it doesn't affect the takeoff. The motor's fine, and yeah, it's still usable. But it could have been so much worse. So I'm going to very gently. Oh yeah, that's not pleasant. Right. So I just need to be really careful every time I put that down. Which is fine, I'm careful with it anyway, to the point where I crash into trees. However, I will actually say this one was my fault, but also wasn't, and we'll go through the footage together, and you can join with. So the actual rise up, you can see over the trees, fine, trees aren't wobbling, there's no indication that it's craziest wind, and all of a sudden I'm looking down at the monitor, and it's drifting left, and I thought, well, actually, it looks kind of cool. It's looking really nice, so that's fine. So I'll go over the top, and that's when I notice it's drifting left, and it's this is where kind of panic mode sets in. If you're looking down at your monitor, you see just the ground below you just traveling in the opposite direction of the way you're pushing. So at this point, I flick into sport mode. I hammer down the front facing the front throttle, and nothing. I'm still going backwards. So at this point, as you can see from the footage, I'm surrounded by trees, surrounded by the forest. If this goes down, I'll find it, but it'll take a long time to find it if I'm lucky. So at this point, I'm fighting against the wind. There's kind of laps of breezes. I can't feel anything on the ground, just fine, because I'm surrounded by those trees. So at this point, I'm looking down and I'm trying to find a path. I find a road, and I see the road I came in on are running along those kind of lighter colored trees. So I thought, right, worst comes to worst, the wind's holding me here. I bring the drone down. I aim for the kind of cross section. I know exactly where that is to where I'm from, so if I can get it in there, I can land it. If I can avoid the trees all the way down, we're successful. Almost successful. So at this point, the drone itself is sideways, and I'm just trying to get it side and down. I'm trying to find the best way to land it down. Trying to use the camera to trying to go straight down, but I'm in sport mode as well, which doesn't help because it doesn't like being fully articulated down. So you can see me. This is me fighting wind, trying to fight just the wind hitting against the branches. At this point, I'm like, fuck it, pull it down, and I see the ground, and I'm like, oh, thank God, didn't hit anything on the way down. It lands. I put my gear into a bag in front of me, know exactly where I'm running, and I start running to this spot. So far, we've hit lucky. It's fine. Then all of a sudden, the controller in my hand starts beeping. For some reason, and I'm sure to my life, for some reason, it starts going to go home mode. The button was never clicked. I don't have it set up it just starts to go home mode. So it's now going back to where it took off, which it won't get to because of the wind. So I'm running down this road. I'm just out of shot running down this road. And the drone is now trying to fly back to the spot, but then the wind is catching again. And I'm running, controlling the drone. I'm trying to bring the drone down. Trying to get it back to exactly where it was. Ignore all this nonsense. But it's still trying to do something, still fighting on, like, it won't just go down. I don't know if it's the wind, I don't know if it's something else. Now it gets to here and it just flies forward, it shoots forward. So I'm battling it again, I'm trying to stop it, I'm trying to pull it to one side, I'm trying to break it. I'm just round that corner and then a gust of wind just smacks it. And takes it right into a tree, cracks the leg. And you see me kind of appearing like seconds later from where it landed. I wasn't entirely sure where it had landed. Watching the whole thing fold out on the monitor, on the phone, so I was running back. Managed to find it, and still recording. Gimbal looked okay, camera looked okay. But yeah, not fun. Actually, I'll show you a bit where I was watching at the time and I was worried because so it goes into the right here. I need to probably go for it frame by frame to show you, but there's a massive puddle right at the ditch of the road, and that's where it's, when it hits the tree, it's hanging above, and luckily the way it just falls misses it by this much. So not ideal. No idea if I hit when I was running back, I hit the return to home or whatnot, but we were almost in the clear. Not ideal, but it still works. There's not too much drama with it, thankfully. So far, I've used it one other time, flew up, flew around, took off, landed okay, didn't give me any error warnings or anything. My only concern is just a few, like a dozen times, half a dozen times more of opening and closing this, I feel might just push it over the edge. Maybe, hopefully not, because I love the Mini 2. Really, really good drone. Still really good. The gimbal's fine, didn't get affected at all. Camera's okay, luckily. I think the way it was clearly, where's the crack side? Yeah. So it was coming in sideways and it just hit it, and yeah. Look after your drones. Do all your pre-flight checks like I did. Checking the weather apps. I was checking everything to make sure it was going to be okay. I had a flight path that I was going for, but it wasn't until it went up just past the tree line, just sailed, and I thought I tried to bring it down to get it back into the tree line, but it was gone by that point. So yeah, not great. So there wasn't a lot of drone footage really high above that area. There was some that I took within the tree line afterwards because there was no wind. I did have the fear the whole time that as soon as it got up too much, it was just going to get caught and fly off again. I got quite lucky, I guess. But yeah, be good to your drones. That was a fun little trip of the only time I've crashed a drone. And hopefully the last. Probably won't be, but hopefully so. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you on next video. Cheers.